Redditors who have been in actual physical fights with other people. What started it? In high school, a girl was leaning in the Ask Me a Question at lunch. At that exact moment, there was a fly near my face. Reached up to swat it away and accidentally hit the girl in the eye with my finger. Her boyfriend jumped up and raced over, screaming about me hitting his girl. I did not have much chance to put up a fight before he hit me, and I woke up a little bit later. I recall hearing her tell the guy that it was an accident, and my parents pressed charges. No idea what happened to that guy except that he dropped out later that year. Sounds like he had a bad temper. Do people think that guys in high school just randomly poke girls' eyes? This guy at school was constantly trying to get me to show him my tits, or grab my tits, but treated me like shit. We were maybe 14. Yes, I won the fight. Good job. A is for alcohol. B is for bitches. Mostly middle school. I'm Russian, but live in Canada, and after a class about the Cold War, some people got pretty mad at me for existing. Edit. Holy shit, this has exploded. Thank you all for the upvotes. I appreciate it very much. Really, why? Usually alcohol. I worked as security at a campus bar when I was younger. A lot of testosterone mixed with alcohol caused a lot of very stupid people to make very poor choices and try to fight the bouncers. Pro tip. If a bar has bouncers, they are used to trouble and there's most likely more than one and they're probably bored. Not a good idea to start trouble with one. I second this. Knew a former bouncer. Dude's been out of it for like 5 years, but he gets itchy for PPL to give them a reason to throw their asses out. We worked in a dumpster fire of a warehouse with sky-high turnover. Apparently his demeanor is pretty normal for the industry. Bouncers love a good reason to manhandle an idiot. Drunk guy didn't like my face. Completely understandable, but no need to punch me about it. I was born last of 6 siblings. I had to learn to defend. The best defense is a good offense. My friend allegedly spent too much time looking at another dude's girlfriend at a party. And somehow the correct response to this was to sucker punch me in the face. Maybe they thought you were an easier target than your friend. She was a witch to me every gym class. I finally had enough and stood up to her, so she slammed my head into a concrete wall. It escalated from there. We became friendly after that though. I slammed a girl's head into a brick, not concrete, wall after school. Grabbed her by the ponytail, and then ran. So incredibly satisfying. She'd been part of a group that had been bullying me all through middle school. She shoved my dying husband. I have been in several, but this was my first. He was one of my bullies and I usually just ignored him. But one day he started talking some absolutely horrible stuff about my grandpa. About how he was supposed to die in an accident and that he is happy my grandpa wasn't able to speak or leave the bed, and later tried to destroy my school bag and books. I grabbed him by his arms and just threw him to the ground and held him there. I wasn't punching him or anything, but his friends were mocking him so hard about the fact that a girl beat him. He actually stopped bothering me after that, so win-win. Edit. Grammatical mistake. Don't worry about grammar mistakes, buddy. It was still very readable. And I can't believe people can be such asses for no reason. It's awful. I'm a very large nerd. Always been bigger than most but super laid back. Every fight I've been in was for sticking up for the little guy who couldn't fight back. Damn, you're like that one, everyone's big bro. Someone tried to steal my bike, so I did the ice-taken thing before it was cool. The what? In every single instance, someone else started it. I was always told, never throw the first punch, but feel free to end the fight as you see fit. Sometimes it was over a misunderstanding, rumor, lie, or money. In one case, I had a gun pulled on me because I asked for a receipt. You never know what people are going to do. Where do you live that someone would pull a gun based on that? Only been in one physical fight before. I was 3 and riding my first trike, and some 5-year-old wanted to ride it, so he tried to push me off, and I sent him home with a bloody lip in one punch. Some loser was flirting with my GF in front of me to try to get a rise out of me. I started laughing loud enough for them to hear, and when they asked, "What's so funny?" I said, "You're a joke." They proceeded to walk over and knock my drink out of my hand, and the fight went from there. Update. They are still a loser all these years later, smiley face. We were brothers. Nuff said. Generally, bullying of some sort. Physical, that is. Somebody decides to take a cheap shot, because they figure they can get away with it. I respond, they escalate, and I go full on in response. When I was living with my sister and brother-in-law, they had a day-long party, with friends. Went out drinking, playing pool, darts, came home, kept drinking. By midnight, my sister and brother-in-law, among others, wanted to call it a night, but a friend's brother refused to end things and go home, which meant others, who were his ride, couldn't leave. And the guy was really disrespectful to my brother-in-law. At this point, I got home from work. Sister tells me what's happening, so I offer to plainly tell the guy it's time to go home. Well, first thing, I approach the wrong guy, and tell him things are done, time to go home. Boom. The actual troublemaker, who was like twice my size, and bigger than my brother-in-law, too, jumps up, curses me, and starts to pin me to the wall. I'm not big, but I'm very fast, have had some martial arts training, and, because of a lifetime of being bullied, I have certain reflexes when I'm attacked. So, I punched him in the throat as he tried to grapple me. Note: I'm aware of how dangerous that move is. I pulled it, caught him in the trachea with the web between thumb and fingers, so, it hurt, but didn't do much real damage. Luckily, his brother grabbed him before it went further. At which point, basically, he gave up and agreed to go home. Complaining about the cheap shot all along. I guess he couldn't speak right for a week, after. It all started when I became wearer of the #1 headband. We both saw a Yu-Gi-Oh card on the ground at the same time and both wanted it. There's been a few. One good one was a kid that harassed me in high school. He would always sit behind me and poke me with his pencil. One day I had enough, stood up and tipped his desk over with him in it. It was the kind that the seat was part of the table. Next day he poked me so hard with a pencil it drew blood, so I punched him in the face. Then we fought. It got broken up by the teacher. Neither of us ended up getting in trouble for either incident. Another was over a girl. Her ex, who she wasn't totally over. And me, her new boy toy. She started drama on purpose, which in hindsight, massive red flag. Anyway, we ran into each other at a party and she just starts escalating. And we fought for a bit. It got broken up by some other people. Punched an abusive boyfriend in the face when I was 19. Don't really want to get into everything that led up to it. I regret using physical violence, but I think I was too young and inexperienced to know what else to do, and it's the only thing that allowed me to escape. I worked as a security guard, so had some fights. Well, mostly we tackled drunk aggressive people. She thought mocking self-harm was cool. She wasn't laughing when I punched her in the face. Let me introduce you to non-self-harm. Former stepdad. Mum had a friend round. He'd had a drink. Bit of an alcoholic. He tried touching my mum's friend. She didn't like. She pushed him. I laid the cunt out. Broken eye socket and nose for him. Shortly followed by divorce papers off my mum. My kids get on my nerves sometimes. I want plain SpaghettiOs. Asterisk looks at can, sees little Frank slices. You wind up for the punch. It's blocked. Asterisk. The child already has their shirt off and fists up. I have a very good friend, best friend, and in school we were very comfortable with hitting each other in class. He started hitting me a lot and one day he gave me pedigree, Triple H1, every time in washroom he used to fight with me and I usually responded back. One day in washroom filled with students in lunch break he slapped on my face as a joke. I slapped him very strongly that everyone shouted, "Who?" Then we both were on floor. PE teacher came but he was very nice and didn't complain to my class teacher. This was 2 years ago when I was 15 yo. In school, we were around the age of 11 I guess. A guy from another class, same year, have been bullying me for months for basically existing. Examples being, that he felt I looked more like an Alan. Just to be clear, that's not my name. He also bullied me for sailing and boxing in my free time. He defiantly had the attitude of someone, believing to be better than his peers. Anyway, one day at recess we played football or soccer if you prefer, and he was way better than me. But I had maybe 10 kilograms more to move with than him, not much I know. So I was able to take the ball from him and he flipped. pushing and kicking me, and something just clicked and I headbutted him. He dazed to the ground. He never did anything again. My teacher knew the history and just let it go since she knew that it was his own fault. Who in their right minds would bully someone? Faux boxing lol. Dude is asking to be punched in the face. A couple. When I was in high school I shit-talked some dude who hooked up with a girl I like and he dumped chips on me at a football game, so we set a date for a fight and came with friends, and it was probably the lamest fight you could imagine. I would say we were pretty even, but he went to school and lied telling everyone he beat my ass. The second time I don't know if you can actually call it a fight, but more I just got jumped at a bar. I was very drunk in Florida and ended up in some bar with a dude with long blonde hair wearing sunglasses. In my drunk state I thought this dude looked awesome and tried to take a picture with him, but I guess it came off as mocking, and next thing I remember was yelling at cops on the floor. The next day I woke up with a broken jaw and had to go into surgery. Good times. A woman. High school. There was a douchebag in my year who liked to pick fights then run off. So he provoked me. I ignored him till he said something about raping me later. I ran after him. He ran. Unfortunately for him I was one of the fastest runners in the district. I body slammed him against a wall. As he bounced off it, I turned and punched him. He hit the wall again. Got knocked out. Got a major concussion and 3 cracked ribs. I got a 2-week suspension. But when he came back to school, he wasn't very mouthy anymore.
Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.